Hi chess fans, welcome to a game between Vasily Ivanchuk with white and Garry Kasparov with black, played in 1999 at the Linearis tournament. In this video we will have about 5 training questions where you can pause your video and find the best move, and then we will explain why it is the best move. So let's get right into it. Ivanchuk played e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes, knight takes, knight f6, knight c3, a6, the knight off, bishop e3, knight g4, bishop g5, h6, knight h4, g5. I think this is called the English attack. If after knight g5, white moves back, black can move the knight back and force white to make another choice. And if white moves the bishop to g5, black can chase the bishop away and gain some space and some nice squares for his bishop in return. On the other hand, this might or might not weaken black's kingside. Bishop g7, and in this position here, Ivanchuk played queen to d2. The idea is to castle long and to use the lever h4 to maybe take advantage of these weaknesses here. An alternative, and maybe today a little bit stronger and more often played, is h3, challenging the knight immediately. Knight moves to e5, and now attacking the bishop that has moved to g7 right away. So black wants to take out this knight. White now has the bishop pair, but maybe this pawn is a bit weak. And now if black develops, white tries to get rid of this weakness here by playing knight to d5. The idea is that this knight cannot really, it's very strong here because it's very central and it cannot really be challenged, or it can only be challenged by e6. And actually the best move is to play e6, but then white can get rid of this weakness, and black gets this open fire for his rook, but white can play knight to e3 here, and the position is about equal, but maybe this is a bit more comfortable for white than what we will see in this game. So after bishop g7, Ivanchuk played the variation with queen d2, and now Kasparov played knight c6, challenging the knight in the center immediately. And after knight b3, the knight moves to a more central square, and this bishop is a little bit weak. So how can white solve the problem with this bishop? If white just takes, black ends up with the bishop pair, and white does not have so much compensation for it. So the better idea is to play f3 and move and create some space for the bishop to work on this diagonal here. But in this position here, take a look at this position, and this is our first training question in this video. What is happening in this position, and what might be a good move, and what's the move that Kasparov actually also played in this position? So if you want, pause your video. Okay, so Kasparov played b5, and the idea is that after f3, the king side is a bit weak, and if white wants to castle, white will castle long, will have to castle long. If white castles short, there is a lot of attack going on. The pawns are already advanced, and the f-pawn is opening the diagonal on the king, so that's very dangerous. So white either has to keep the king in the center or to castle long side, and b5 is immediately pushing the attack. So already the knight is threatening to come in here. The bishop is on this diagonal. Here we have the semi-open fire. So this move highlights a problem in white's position, which is that the king is weak. And we can see in the following moves, bishop f2, Kasparov doesn't even castle short, he doesn't lose any time, he prepares to push the b4 pawn. And after knight d4, attacking maybe this knight on c6, the b4 push comes immediately, and the point is that If white plays knight takes, and knight d5, the bishop is attacking the b2 pawn. So Ivanchuk played knight to d1, and Kasparov exchanged here. And now second training question, what's the best move for black in this position? What's going on in this position, and what's the best move for black? Okay, many people would probably simply say, okay, I'm going to castle now. But Kasparov didn't lose any time because there is no attack on the king at the moment. So he played d5. And the key learning here is that black wants to open up the position. The black king is in the center and can be attacked. And if he castles longside, he's going to have trouble too. So d5 is the second move, which takes advantage of the fact of the one key problem in the white position, the king. Okay, Ivanchuk played e takes, and after queen takes, c3 to challenge this pawn here. And it looks like white is saying, okay, I'm going to stay here in the center. And now let's have a look at the next few moves of Kasparov. Now Kasparov's castles, bringing the rook to a more active position. Bishop e2, and the rook goes to d8. Queen e3, bishop e7. This bishop is also on a stronger attacking position here. Knight f2. Now Kasparov played b takes, bishop takes, and you can see one key learning that we can see in this position is that once the king was stuck in the middle, black all of the last black's moves were aimed at one goal, and this is what we can learn in this position, to activate all of his pieces, to bring in all of the pieces into the attack. So this is something that we can learn from this position here. Okay, so white is now ready to castle and bring the king to safety, but there is one move that black can play that prevents white from castling. Pause your video if you want and see what move can prevent white from castling, and you can check if you would have found the move. Kasparov did find the move, of course. Okay, Kasparov played queen e6, and the problem is that this queen here is not protected. So now black is threatening to take on f3 and to give a check. So for example, now if white castles, knight f3 is check, but at the same time the queen is attacked as well. So, and if white takes the queen, white queen takes the knight, it's not possible because the knight can then is protected by the bishop. So that's why black is not only putting up a threat right now. So for example, if white plays a3, the threat is also knight takes. But this move also prevents white from castling. Okay, so that's why Ivanchuk ended up playing king f1. It's the strongest move in this position. And you can see the king is in big trouble now. Everything is opened up. The bishops and the rooks are in strong squares. And with this last move, queen e6, Kasparov has highlighted this weakness in the position and tactically keeps the king in the center. And this is another key learning from this game. Keeping the king in the center is a strong resource, and sometimes it's possible to do that with tactics. Okay, after king f1, black is continuing bringing his position into the attack. So the bishop goes to d5 a tempo. It's even more central, but also attacking the a2 pawn. So white has to play b3 or something else to protect the pawns. And now rook b c8. Now all the pieces are in their optimal position. And black is essentially one rook up because this rook is not playing. And black has a clear target for attack, which is this king. Okay, white played rook d1, And now, if you want, you can pause your video here and see what tactical resources black has in this position. It's a little bit difficult to see, but if you want, pause your video and try to find the tactical blow for black. Okay, Kasparov played rook takes c3 and queen takes c3, sacrificing an exchange. But again, you could say black is still material up because this rook is not playing in the game. And the idea is that after knight to g4, black is threatening both fork on the king and the rook and a discovered attack on the queen. It's not so straightforward because white has the resource, and this is what Ivanchuk played in the game as well. Queen a5 attacking the rook, and after knight e3, check, king moves away. Now the rook is attacked with check, so black cannot take the rook here. So Kasparov moved the rook to c8, but now we see that the tactical blow was actually just a tactical blow and is also working because black is threatening taking the rook in the next move. And if you look at where the rook could go, here it will be taken by the knight, here it will be taken by the rook, here it will be taken by the bishop. So if it leaves this space here and goes here, the rook will come in with check. So the rook can only move away to e1, but then we have this double attack on queen and rook, or to b1. But if the rook goes to b1, it's also very passive, and if black plays, for example, g4, the attack on the king will be very crushing. So Ivanchuk decided to give back the exchange and play queen takes a6, and Kasparov took the exchange. So now white is a pawn up, and that's why white exchanged the queens. And bishop takes, material is equal, but after rook c1, it becomes clear that with the bishop pair and the rook, and this rook totally out of the play, and black is threatening attacking this knight, which protects this bishop and will win material probably, Ivanchuk resigned. So, key learnings from this game. b5, highlighting the fact that the king will be weak, and if it castles longside, already preparing the attack. In this position, d5, opening up the game, opening up the position when the king is in the center. Queen e6, keeping the king in the center with tactics. I'm going to run through these moves really quickly. From this moment onwards, bringing all the pieces into the attack. Look at how the black pieces move, how they activate. So bringing all the pieces into the attack, another key learning. And maybe the last learning, rook takes c3. Once you have all the pieces in the attack, suddenly the tactics work. Once you have all the pieces very active, you will find that tactics work, like for example rook c3, maybe the last key learning from this game. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot for your practical chess. If you like these videos, don't forget to click subscribe so that YouTube sends you an update once a new video becomes available. Thanks for watching.